All right. So, I mean, we're a minute after 11, so I think we can get started. So you guys, this training is all about getting your contacts loaded into Command. And so just some different ways that you can do that. We talked about getting a database of over 201 contacts, and how important that is in regards to your GCI. So this is kind of step number one, is building that database, how you can get contacts, where you can find them. So we're going to present a few different options for you guys, and hopefully you get some takeaways from today. Kathleen, do you want me to start with how to pull contacts from your phone?
Yeah, let's start with that.
Okay, sounds good. So I'm actually going to share my phone screen, and let me just get that going here. So there's actually an app that you can download. And if you've met with Kathleen and I before, you may have heard us kind of reference this, but it's called SA Contacts Lite. And let me go ahead and share my phone screen with everybody.
Is that F8, Frank, Andy?
So SA, S is in Sam, A is in Andy, yep.
Okay.
And let me get in there now. So the app looks like this guy right here. Did everyone see that? That SA Contacts. That's what it's going to look like in your App Store or your Google Play Store.
Okay.
So when you open that, and I can always send out some detailed instructions on how you can access this. And so what you can do with this is when you download that app and you open it up, this is the screen that you'll see. I have noticed recently that they may have done some updates to the app, and you can actually switch back to the old version. So if I do that, you might open it up and see this. If that's the case, you can click into setting at the very bottom right. And then at the top, you can just click on old version. And that's going to bring you to what this screen looks like, where it says export contacts. And so from this screen, what you're going to do is just click that start button. Don't worry about choosing the contacts or the property style. That's all going to stay the same. Click on start. And then depending on how many contacts you have in your phone, that's going to load, and then it's going to present this screen. So you have a couple different options in terms of exporting and actually getting those contacts in your hands, essentially. One way is by emailing it. So if I click on email, you may get this notice. So it'll say that the file is too large, unable to send through email. And that's okay. We've got some other options. My second go-to option is clicking on Wi-Fi. Now, just make sure that you're connected to your phone is connected to the same Wi-Fi that you're in, that your building or office or home. Because then what you're going to do on your computer, you're going to actually type in that http://192, that full URL. Once you type that in, you're going to be able to click and download the zip file. And so within that zip file, once you open that up, you're also going to see a file for contacts. It's a CSV file, so a .csv file. That's the spreadsheet with all of your contacts from your phone. So I'm going to stop my share here, and I'm going to share my actual computer screen. All right, so bear with me as I get my screens all situated here. Okay, so now I'm going to type in that URL. So, and again, if you're able to email it, great. You won't have to do this step. I just like to show this as your second option in case you have a lot of contacts in your phone, which is a good problem to have. So now this is the screen that you would see. So all you're going to do is click on this file, this link right here, and that's going to download that zip file. And then what I'll do is if you have a Mac, you can just drag and drop it to your desktop, or you can open that up directly from this file here. Once I open that or unzip that file, it's going to open up another folder. So that's what I can open up and see my contacts. So there's that contact list. So what I can do is then open up that file. And it's just taking a second. It's opening up numbers. So since I don't have Excel on my computer, it's going to open it up in the numbers applet. And so here are all of my contacts from my phone. And so, a lot of blank fields. You're going to see a lot of blank, like phone number fields, email addresses. And from there, it's really just a matter of scrubbing through this list. And obviously you're going to have majority of phone numbers, but the goal is to add as many email addresses and mailing addresses as possible as well. From your phone, you're also going to want to make sure that you have full names, first and last names. Now, there's probably going to be a lot of contacts in your phone where you just have a first name. So those are just some things that you'll have to go through and start cleaning up this list. And maybe you have, a lot of things like local pizzerias or your dentist. So those contacts, you wouldn't necessarily need to include within your database in command. And just changing the name for, mom or dad, or, just think of kind of those types of things that you would need to update within this spreadsheet. Another thing that you can add and try and make that a goal really is like adding birthdays and just some of that additional contact information that, once it's uploaded into command, you'll be able to utilize, like, let's say, more of those smart plans to follow up and communicate with your database. Any questions so far on how to get those contacts exported from your phone? What was that?
I have so many real estate agents in my phone. That's the thing. I'm going to have hundreds of agents from transactions that I would, want to eliminate somehow. I would move them to.
Yeah, and you can absolutely do that. Or if you do want to import them into your database in command, just make sure to tag them with agent. Because one thing that you could do is you could always gear some of your communication from command to the agents in your database, and maybe kind of put them on a drip in terms of like, hey, interested in Keller Williams, let's grab coffee, let's chat. I know I just created a smart plan for an agent who wanted to kind of thank her co-brokes from 2022, but then also make it the opportunity to say, it was great to work with you. If you want to learn more about KW and why I love it over here, let's grab coffee, let's chat. Love to be a resource for you. So that's one way that you can utilize and utilize command and utilize the fact that you have all of those agents in your phone to kind of, communicate out with. So that's one thing. That's one idea. You definitely don't have to include them if you don't want to, but that's an opportunity that you have. Okay. So, Kathleen, any other input in regards to exporting contacts from your phone? Anything that I missed?
No, I think the next thing I wanted to show them was the API connection, where they can sync their contacts from their phone into command. So I can share my screen.
Perfect.
So Command has a functionality through a partnership with API that will automatically sync your contacts between your phone, so either iPhone or iCloud contacts or your Google contacts with Command. You can set it up so that it's either a one-way sync where you're just saying any new contacts I put in my phone, send them to Command, or you can even set it up as a two-way sync. So if you enter in contacts into Command, it would then also sync to your phone and vice versa. To set that up, if you go to the drop down at your name on Command's home screen and go to settings. Oh, I think I'm lost, Lindsay. I've done this one. Oh, connect more apps, right?
Yeah, or you can go directly to the KW Marketplace. Because there's the little marketplace icon in your like the very top of Command by your notification bell. So that'll take you here as well.
And then we are looking for you can search. We'll search for API. So here are some of the API integrations. You can sync your KW Command with iCloud. You can also sync with some other, if you're pulling in like Zillow leads or Realtor.com leads. And then you can also find the KW to Google integration as well. And so you would click through here and you can set up, like I said, this two-way or one-way sync. So if you wanted to just do the one-way sync and get all your iCloud contacts into Command, they would start to instantly transfer over. So, you know, there's the spreadsheet way, which I really like because you can take some time and kind of clean it up ahead of time, right? You can go and make sure like people's names are correct. And it's not just like, you know, their initials that you have in the phone. You can go through and add in, you know, email addresses right on that spreadsheet to then make it a little bit more of a cleaner import. Versus doing this, it will just take whatever information is in your iCloud and send it directly into Command. Okay, so think about it before you pull the trigger on this of whether or not you need to clean up your contacts. If you do need to clean up your contacts, definitely do the SA Lite, Contacts Lite, get the spreadsheet, and then clean it up in there before you import. Okay.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
Yeah, I see $0 off the first month. Is this something that would be charged for going forward, or is that a free service?
Yeah, so it's $10 a month, I think, and it's definitely a month-to-month service. So I know a lot of agents, they'll turn it on for like a month or two, get everything moved into Command, kind of clean it up, do the two-way sync for a bit, and then shut it off. And moving forward, you would just need to know that you don't have that sync on there. If you do want the sync on there for eternity, it's like $10 a month.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
When you print that spreadsheet and there's missing information, but the contact is already in Command with the information potentially, is there a merge? At what point would you do a merge to find out what information you actually have and you don't have, type of thing? That makes sense?
Well, Command will not allow duplicate phone numbers or email addresses. So if you try to import a contact and there's already like the email address is on the spreadsheet and that email address is also already in your contacts in Command, it'll just fail to import that one person. So like it won't let you import duplicate emails or phone numbers. It will let you do duplicate names.
If I had Steve with a phone number and I have Steve in Command with a last name, an email, and a phone number, could you still merge it with Steve with just phone number, blend with Steve in Command with all the information?
No, because if the phone numbers match, it'll fail to import Steve again.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's no option to merge contacts at this point. I know it's on the roadmap, but right now there is no merge capability within contacts in Command.
So this is a separate list you keep? You're never going to take the spreadsheet and merge it into Command to see how they match up? I don't know if that's a question.
I guess like if you were looking to see if the people in your phone match what's in Command, you could, it would take a little time, but you would export from Command and then put them all into one spreadsheet and find the duplicates and kind of clean it up that way. But if they're already in your database in Command, you can't like import new information into those contacts. You would have to manually add that information into your contacts.
Okay.
Sue, so I see your question in the chat. I had this on my personal phone for a little while, this API integration, and I didn't have any duplicates. It just kind of, again, because you can't have like the duplicate contacts in Command, it didn't, it like matched up people, and if they were already in one database or the other, it didn't duplicate it. That was a couple of years ago though for me. So again, that might be something you might want to tread with caution about. I just haven't tried it recently, so. Okay, so these are the two methods that you can use to get kind of the contacts out of your phone into your Command database, so you can start leveraging them and doing your lead generation through Command. The next thing we want to talk about on building your database up to that 201 number is the tax records in MLS. And we can utilize the tax records in MLS to make sure that we're getting the home addresses for all of our contacts. Or we can also start using the tax records in MLS to do like a neighborhood farm of some sort. Just so everybody knows how to find this information from your Flex MLS account. If you go to the main menu, there is a section to get into, on the left-hand side, taxes and tax information. This brings us into wire data, where we can pull all the tax rolls. So the first thing you want to do is set up your counties on this top button, which is choose counties. So you can pick up to 4 counties, the ones that you work mostly in. So I have like Milwaukee, Waukesha, and Racine County selected here for myself. And then we have our search options. So if you're looking up for specific people that you know that are in your database, you can search by owner name. I would just simply do their last name and then which county are they in. If you know specifically which city they're in, you could, like here are municipalities in Waukesha, you can choose which town they're in, or you could just search the entire county if you're like, they live somewhere in Waukesha County, but I really have no idea where. And then you can just simply type in their last name, hit search. It's going to pull up anybody that has a matching last name. So then you would just choose, your clients here. This little magnifying glass, if you hit that, will bring you into their actual tax data, where you can get the property address and then make sure that you're entering that into Command. Okay. Because once you get that property address loaded into Command, then you can do the fun things like sending out the monthly neighborhood nurture. You can do more direct mail to them once you know their address. You don't have to look it up all the time. So this is a really great resource as well to just fill in some of those missing addresses of people that you know are homeowners. The other thing you can do on wire data is the addresses. So I know some people have asked about like, how do I start farming a neighborhood? I would just start with your own personal neighborhood. Most people, that's where their greatest payoff is going to be with farming, because you can really have a connection with the people in your own neighborhood. They're your neighbors. You should see them out and about, walking their dogs, whatnot. So you can start building a farm neighborhood there. What I would do is always just start with Google, because I start with Google for everything. And I would go to the neighborhood I want to start farming and just take a look at some of the street names. Now, in my neighborhood particularly, there's probably like 1,000 houses. That might be too big of a farm neighborhood for me to start, right? But I can start with all the houses that are on my own street and maybe 1 or 2 other streets nearby, and then kind of start growing it from there. So in wire data, in the address search, we can just start typing in some of those street names. And, you know, which town are you looking in? And now I have 69, see total parcels here. So I have 69 houses on those 2 streets in my neighborhood, right? So I can export this data into a spreadsheet. And then, oh, sorry, you gotta select them all first. And, you know, if you're going to do like mailing labels, do you want to include the word current resident, or if you just want their first and last name and the owner's address, you export that file. It'll be into a spreadsheet that you can then easily upload into Command and tag them as your farm neighborhood so that you can start systematically sending them information as well.
So can that whole list be tagged farm in one swoop?
Yep. So if you just add another column here that says tag, and then you can basically whatever your tag is. So it's going to be like Fountainwood, or like the name of the neighborhood, because maybe you're doing this in multiple neighborhoods. Then I would just add that to every single parcel. And now when I upload it, they'll all have a tag that comes in that says Fountainwood.
Yeah, and I would just make one comment too. Back in MLS, when Kathleen selected select, I think was the button, it did select all 69 addresses. So even though it showed like only one list of like up to 12, hitting select, it selects all 69 without having to go through each page.
You can also, if you just wanted the mailing labels for these addresses, you could just hit this mailing labels button, and you can generate like a PDF that you can then just easily print onto mailing labels, if that's what you were looking to get from it. So that's another way that we can start to capture information. Now, you know, you're only getting names and home addresses. So then you can use a service like Ben Verify, True People Search, whitepages.com. Those you do pay for. They're pretty nominal fees a month for any of those websites, where then you can go and look up their last known phone number and email address. And then if you do want to call them, just know that you have to scrub numbers against the do not call list. It is free to make a do not call list account for yourself. And you can search numbers up to 4 different area codes. So you would get 262, 414, 608, and pretty much cover any numbers that you would need to scrub. So just make sure that you're abiding by that.
Kathleen, can you just clarify that a little bit? Like, if we're scrubbing an area for a do not call list, what do you mean we would just elaborate a little bit, if you will? Clarify that for me.
Yeah.
Like, I know there's a do not call list and I can, it's DNC, right? But are you saying there are ways to get phone numbers outside of the do not call phone number?
Well, so you would look up the person on some sort of like White Pages, Ben Verify, True People Search, one of those search engines where you could possibly get their phone number. Then you have to go into the do not call list, run that phone number in the do not call list, and make sure it's not on the do not call list. Does that make sense? So you're basically taking a phone number that you have of a person you've never met, and if you're going to cold call them, you should be running those phone numbers through the do not call list before you call them. Any questions on that? I guess the last thing I wanted to talk about was getting information off of social media. So if you're like me, you have like 200 people in your phone, but then you have like 600 people on Facebook. Yes, right. And I think I've heard a lot of agents have success with just a 10 a day direct message through their social medias. Hey, I was just thinking about you. I wanted to send you something. Could I make sure I have your current, email address, phone number, home address? Think of some sort of script that you can just kind of copy and paste in the messenger of all your contacts. Try to limit it to just about 10 a day. You don't want Facebook thinking that you're a spam bot. So don't think that you're going to message 500 people at once. You'll probably get your Facebook account locked down. So just tread a little lightly on that. So 10 a day should be your goal. But if you can start to get people's information from your social media pages and then get them into your database, you're going to have to probably manually enter those people in once they give you that information. But then again, it's just another person you get to add in. So
yeah, you can also utilize social media for birthdays. That's a really great opportunity to kind of use those social media accounts, Facebook, to kind of see and add people's birthdays as they come about. And like Kathleen said, reach out to them, but also, check their profile, see if their birthday is a field that they have public, and then add that as well.
Yeah. So I know we talk about like getting to 200 contacts in your database, but if it's just 200 names with no contact information, it's not doing you any good, right? And when we say get to 201, we're really saying get to 201 with full contact information, which is a phone number, an email, and a home address. You do need all three pieces so that you can reach out to everybody in a systematic way. They're all getting your touches, right? If you're missing somebody's email, they're not getting your email touches. They're not getting your full 36 touch plan. So it's not just about, dumping a bunch of names and phone numbers into your database. It's getting them in there and then also doing the work to get the rest of the contact information as well. And hopefully some of the tips and tricks that we just showed you will help you gather some of that missing information.
Does anyone have any questions?
Outside of that core information, the phone number, email address, street address, when would you say, I know as right away would be the answer, but when would you say to bolster the contact with as much supporting information as possible? So anniversaries and X, Y, and Z, is it just as it comes up, or would you say to spend time on that as well as adding contacts? Where is the priority?
I think that's my answer.
Yeah,
I can
Kathleen,
answer that one. Yeah, I use this, and it's just funny, but when you're doing your, quarterly calls, that's a great time to fill in those blanks. I always use Ford, family, occupation, to start a phone call. But if I'm in command, I will say, hey, I'm just updating some stuff. Can you share your email with me so I can get my monthly newsletter out to you? Or, why you got married? When did your wedding anniversary is coming up? I thought, and then they're like, oh no, it's not till such and such date. That can be part of that. 13 every 13 weeks you're calling and checking in.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point, Brad. And I think too, when you are on, if you're utilizing social media to get some of that contact information, you can also copy and paste the link to their social media page and add that in command as well. And so when those quarterly calls do come up and you don't really know what to talk to them about, you can click on that link to their social media account. I don't want to say creep on them a little bit, but, just kind of see what they're up to. Did they take a family vacation recently? Did they celebrate an anniversary? And that way you have something to kind of start the conversation with instead of just kind of cold calling. But yeah, like Brad said, use that Ford model, family, occupation, recreation, dreams. Start with, how's your family? Are you still with this company? What are you doing for fun? Any vacations coming up? And, what are your plans for the future? What are your goals? So.
Yeah. And
It's
then
Melissa. Oh, sorry, Kathleen. It's Melissa. I have a question for Brad. I'm just curious, Brad, do you, like, when you are doing your sending out, like monthly, whatever, are you doing that mostly to like your social friends or people that are kind of like in your pipeline?
It depends on what I'm sending out. So if it's like a monthly newsletter or the quarterly magazine that we get from KW,
Yeah.
or it might be like I just sent ice rinks out that was created by our wonderful Lindsey.
Okay, got it.
That's to everyone in my, I call it my sphere, but that's in command that can
Right,
get this
because
stuff through an
that's
email.
not necessarily like real estate, like, whatever, like you're not sending them some like information about like, housing prices or something. It's more just like a social thing of like.
Well, the newsletter does have stuff in there about it.
Right.
But then a lot of those
your
people
iframes
I've
and
already set up in smart plans that get a monthly newsletter about what's going on in their neighborhood. And I've
Right.
already set that. I don't even have to think about that, but it really depends, like if I'm doing
Yeah.
like it depends on what I'm sending out. So
Right.
if I'm doing like magnets or something that I've spent money on, there's a target, my sphere that I target. But if
Right.
I'm doing monthly generalization of stuff of, what's going on in the market, what's the hot trend this year, gray cabinets are out, don't buy them. They're so yesterday, that's going to go to my whole database. And
I like it. That's awesome. Thank you.
yeah, so you just have to know who, they always say, a comedian has to know his audience. You as a
Right.
realtor need to know your audience and what you're going to use. That's
Right, totally.
okay.
And that also kind of, corresponds into what we'll be talking about next week in terms of tagging your database and how you can organize it in order for you to kind of really know exactly the type of communication that you're sending out to different segments of your database. So if you know that, everybody that you have an email address is getting your monthly neighborhood update email, but maybe just your, VIP or sphere group of contacts is getting maybe something in addition to that. But next week we'll be going through, all of those details in terms of like, once you have your database, once all of the contact information is loaded in, now what? It's not just, okay, I'm going to start sending them things. Well, you kind of want to think about how you're really going to organize that and have a plan and have a system for who gets what, essentially. And that you make sure that you have, your 36 touch set up and ready to go. So any other questions on anything that we've gone through? I love the questions, Melissa, and thanks, Brad, for your input on what you're.
I was going to say one thing real quick. Yeah, I know this is next week, but don't just start sending things out every day to your whole database. Don't think about yourself. How many emails do you delete because you just see that person's name pop up? Like another piece of crap from them. Make sure it's useful stuff that they're not just throwing you away. That's my own personal opinion.
That's exactly my point. Yeah, that's why I was asking you about that.
Yeah, make it insightful. Make it worth their time to open it.
Yeah, and if you, maybe you're sending an email and then they pop up on your quarterly call list. I mean, that's also something that you can say, hey, did you get my email? I'm really hoping that your family can utilize, the list of local ice skating rinks, or it's something that you can do for fun with your family or your spouse or whoever.
Awesome.
All right.
Lindsey, I don't want to ask you to go through this for everybody because I was transitioning from my phone to my computer and I missed the part right after file download. If you can just swing by really quick, if you have a second, and just talk through that part.
Yeah, definitely. No, I am right outside where you are. So in the conference room. So I'll connect with you and we'll
Okay.
That's something we'll do today.
But
is
A,
export
li-
it.
a little plug there, Mike, and everyone else. And I know Lindsay will say this. If you missed it, they save this on the YouTube channel. So you can go back and rewatch that, and you can pause it and you can do step by step. So I use the YouTube channel all
Awesome.
the time for that stuff because
Same
I was
here.
like,
Awesome.
Yeah, and that's why we kind of, recognize that we needed to update some of these videos on our YouTube channel because a lot of them are from 2020. So, yeah, so a lot of these will be really useful with, just updates even in command. Just there's so much that has happened and will continue to be upgraded throughout the year. So we want these recorded and useful for everybody.
So I think everybody's got some homework for this next week, right? Getting some contacts into command and getting some of that missing contact information in there as well. Because then next week, like Lindsay said, we're going to show you how to set your database up so that you can efficiently get in there and start doing the marketing and lead generation that you need to do with it. So.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for jumping on.
Thanks,
Hope you guys
ladies.
Have a great day.
Yeah, thank you.
Have a great day.
Thank you.